How cold is it over there, man? It's freaking east side temperatures where I'm at this morning.
Wait, are you at home? Or
Yeah,
are
I'm
you
at
like east side? Oh, okay,
yeah,
okay. That's
I'm
not too bad.
like east side temperatures. Like my car said 23 degrees.
Oh,
I went to go
you're
get
colder than I am.
I went to go check the mail this morning because I was like, oh, I know we have stuff in the mailbox, so let me go get that. And it was only, I mean, it was like maybe right before 9, around 9 o'clock, and I was like, oh my gosh. I thought about ice bathing this morning, and
Oh,
yes,
gross.
yesterday I thought about ice bathing this morning, and I was like, yeah, I don't need to. If I still want to do it still in the middle of the day, that might be bearable, but the early
Do you still
morning,
do that consistently?
I hadn't for a little while because I needed to clean my tub, and it was kind of cold for that to be a chore. But I took time and scrubbed it out. I got some new materials around like I don't know if those Black Friday deals or somewhere around. Yeah, I think that was probably right. And then I was in my room for a little bit, but I had like good like scrubber pads for the antibacterial. I have like a silicone scrubber, and then I
Okay,
have
yeah,
this
yeah.
filtration thing that I attach to the hose to make the water coming in have like less bacteria in it, so it doesn't cultivate in the tub itself.
Less of the roll stuff and whatnot.
Yeah, and then I also
Okay.
have
Ugh.
some sort of like substance I add to it to I already put salt in it, bulk salt, to like keep it from getting gross like fast and everything. But anyway,
Okay.
consistent hasn't been for at least 2 or 3 months now because well, it got cold and I don't know. I feel like I did it some in October and then there was the holidays and then whatever. So like November, December, probably not so
Yeah.
much. But I did get in it just a couple days ago. I think it was.
What does it feel like? Or no, do you feel different afterwards? Obviously, you get that little drill of adrenaline, right? It's like,
Mhm.
but like after that, like, does it do you notice a difference, or is it just little minor things and it just feels good to have like a little challenge throughout the day? Because like the more and more people are talking about it, because there's this huge phenomenon with Huberman talking about cold and the Wim Hof guy, and then it's kind of like gone the other way to be like, well, as a long term, more long term, it's been a few years, right? Science
Mhm.
is saying, oh yeah, it's good for this, but really it's not as beneficial as the initial like Wim Hof guy was making it sound like. Oh, you can live, gets rid of every ailment. I haven't been sick in 25 years. You know what I mean? It's like
And
that
then he
that was the
dies.
initial, and then it's kind of like leveled out. It's like
Yeah,
do you notice anything when you consistently do it, or is it kind of just a good challenge to
I could
keep
tell you.
doing?
I can tell you why I do it, and I can say that there is something to be said about that challenge aspect of it for sure. Because if you're trying to promise like a whole list of health benefits to somebody, and that's why they should do it, and that's why they should take the pain, the discomfort that they don't want to take. They have no interest in doing it. They're going to
Right.
be dissatisfied because you promised them this list of stuff, right?
Hmm.
Where you could say, hey, these types of people, or historically, maybe cultures or types of people have done this sort of practice, and they believe it helps this way, or science. There's correlation with these sort of things. Take it or leave it. Is that enough of a chance for you to do it or not? Yeah, you're right.
Right, right.
So for me, there's that mental challenge for sure. I will say my mid back and just my back in general, there's probably little bits of inflammation that I take for like, hey, I don't feel swollen here, right? But when a chiropractor adjusts you and you hear that pop, or even
Hmm.
even when you don't hear the pop, but like the inflammation sort of like pads it, sort of thing. But like
Okay, yeah, yeah.
not you're not as you know just like fingers get swollen and everything. It's like, well, it's not super noticeable to somebody who doesn't know, but you're like, yeah, my ring's tight. This is different, like.
Yep.
Um, so getting in the tub for sure will kind of like I could that's a feeling that I actually feel in my spine after being in for about 5 or 6 minutes.
So kind of like something that if you didn't do that, it would have just been like day to day life, but then it like reduces it to where you're like, whoa. Oh, that actually feels better.
Yeah,
Okay.
I feel like afterwards, and I don't know if this is a good or a bad thing, right afterwards. And sometimes I think to do it, sometimes I don't. But I go, okay, I got out. I'm not like, okay, let's challenge the body to do all sorts of jerky motions and try and tear a muscle or something. But I think like, let me get on my roller, right? And I'm just gonna gradually roll. And with my spine having all the inflammation just basically shrunken down for a little bit, and I relax around it. And it's so anything's warm after being in there too. You get taken the cold shower, the just like the cold water
In
is
comparison, yeah.
yes. I mean, from then on out, the day is cake when it comes to being cold because I mean, except for you're cold. You probably might shiver for a couple hours. I will and do, but the it's laughable to think about being that cold again. You're only going to get warmer.
Right. Yeah. So like a minor inconvenience. Oh, it's kind of cold in here. It's like, fuck it, it's fine.
Yeah,
I,
right.
I was just in 30 degree. Wait, how low do you go?
Well,
You
so,
add salt, so do you go below freezing?
no. I for one, I don't have a high tech, chiller or anything like that. Those are pretty spendy,
Oh,
but
okay, yeah,
maybe someday, I suppose. But uh, the funny thing is, it'd be challenging to get your water that cold in general. But right now, right, Mother
yeah.
Nature's doing it for us.
Right, yeah.
And I was in it the other day, and I'd planned. So yeah, I guess it was Saturday I got in it, and this was maybe my first time after cleaning it, sort of thing. And it might have been the second time after cleaning it, but I got in it, and I wasn't sure. I didn't think about the weather ahead of time, but I was like, well, I'm gonna do that, and then I'm gonna make sure I hit the road and make it to yoga, and everything on
Oh,
Saturday.
yeah, yeah.
And so that requires getting up at a certain time, and I'm like, I want to aim to do 20 minutes, and then all of a sudden my morning was shrinking a little bit, and it's like, well, 15 is going to be almost just as good. And plus, as cold as it is out here, I think
Wait,
15.
15 minutes in the ice bath?
Yeah,
That's a long ass time, isn't it? Aren't they usually like spend 5 minutes in there or something like
I've
that?
heard that people do a lot less than me. I guess I've been kind of conditioned to be like, nah, 15 to 20 minutes, that's what you need, and there's
Maybe theirs are also the ones I hear, like Joe Rogan has his set to like where you have to break the ice to get in kind of thing. So maybe that you like would hurt yourself going in for 15, 20 minutes.
it is interesting because so the water was 38 degrees, and
Oh,
I got in it,
oh
and
God.
even my somewhat conditioned self in that regard, I was like, oh shit, and I just
Oh, fuck
and I know even that being cold, I'm like I could still get past this, right? I could settle into this, and I settled somewhat. That 15 minutes became 10.
Still, dude, 10 minutes at 38 degrees? Like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, yeah.
That's where I think too, it's like for the benefit of it, it's like doing something you don't want to do and you don't have to do it.
Hmm, hmm,
Like that's where I could see the benefit for at least me, right? 'Cause,
hmm.
like I hate the fucking cold, man. I'm such a weenie. I've always gotten cold and all that. But I like the idea of that. Just like you don't have to do it. You can leave whenever you want. But then, like you said, even 10 minutes and 38 degrees, like, that's a challenge in itself. And then, like you said, not only the cold, but like with our work stuff, it's like really how that is compared to the shock your body took and laying in that like shock miserable. Well, maybe you're not miserable, but it sounds miserable for like 10 minutes. It's like, all right, this email kind of pissed me off, but really, how bad is it? It's
Oh
fine.
my
It could be
god.
a lot fucking worse.
Yes. No. I mean, that's what yoga is for me. Yeah. I know you've heard me tell you that before, but um, the yeah, it's like
Oh,
somehow I lost your camera.
yeah, it's yelling at me. Oh, there it is. That's why my back looks like I'm back.
Yeah, you're back.
Yeah. Okay.
I never lost your audio either. Um,
Okay. Good.
no, it's. I think I mean I told you about that about yoga too. It's like the focus and the intensity of the heat is enough to kind of wipe away that shit that's less important. And then, yeah, doing weird stuff that maybe the typical person isn't doing, and you get past it. You're like, yeah, whatever. Yeah, email. I guess those are both extremes, hot and cold, and you're subjecting yourself willingly to a different prescription than your average bear.
Right. I also have a hard time mentally with that kind of thing. Now that I'm just on my tangent. Are you recording or are we just chatting? Because I feel like we're just chatting. I like it. It's
Yeah.
like we never get to just catch up. It's like figured we'd like, hey, later on we'll chat about like ideas and stuff. But like I like just catching up first, if anything.
Well, both. And I didn't want you to feel like it was like super duper structured or worried about that. And I actually think I look forward to seeing how this sounds.
Okay, sweet. Yeah, that doesn't matter to me because I'm just chatting because we never get to catch up at work, man. I mean, we do. We try at the end of the days. We get to kind of do that, but no, I with that, like I have a hard time like justifying that too because the gym is that way for me too, right? It's like I don't have to go today, and there's days where it's like no, no, and the whoop is kind of a bad thing because it's like I feel like shit. I don't want to go. Look at my app. My recovery is like 20%. It's like, oh, see, that's why I'm not going to go. It's not even worth it, which is kind of cool.
Is there like an optimum time that you're supposed to recover then, or?
Recovery is like based on there's two things like in it that it measures heart rate, right? Is one that's the standard, and then there's your heart rate variability.
Mm-hmm.
You know the difference between those? You like ran track and
I
stuff.
mean,
I don't know the difference.
oh, so you don't know? Like, so if I claimed I didn't
Well,
know, you're not
one
gonna
is
tell me?
like heart rate is how many beats per minute, right? Is
Mm-hmm.
usually beats per minute, and then heart rate variability is the time between beats
Okay.
or something. The variability in time. So if it's like thump 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 thump, thump
That
like,
sounds
but that's
murmur-esque.
just yeah, exactly. It's like is that like looking for health issues, or at the same time, it's like wouldn't beats per minute kind of get that? Like how did
See,
Hannah's very proud because she has a very high heart rate variability, and that's apparently very good, and
oh,
mine's like low.
high heart rate variability. Hmm.
Apparently is good.
Yeah, but I also want to imagine like if we had a dial and we could listen to what a high heart rate variability meant, you know?
Exactly. It's hard for me to understand, but it takes that your hours into sleep, how much REM versus light. So it takes all these like data points that it collects, and it like puts into it recovery, and it's
Hmm.
like my recovery is low because my sleep was an hour and a half below, or I was awake for 2 hours last night, right? So it kind of backs it up. But my original point of like
The recovery thing.
not I kind of went on the tangent on recovery, but the idea of I have a hard time justifying like for myself the gym is something like the cold plunge or the hot yoga where it's like this is hard. A lot of people don't do this nearly as much as I do, right? To
Mm-hmm.
the extent that I do that to try and keep myself healthy and feeling good. But at the same time, it's like is it because I'm pushing myself to do it, and like yeah, this is a struggle and I'm going to push through the pain of like lifting weights and better myself, or is it because I'm like addicted to the good feeling afterwards at this point and like know that I'm going to feel good, and like if I don't feel good because I don't know if that's a mental thing with
Mm-hmm.
me. I know it definitely is a little mental, but also if you're consistently doing something, like think back to when you were probably running track and
Mm-hmm.
super right. You said like your freshman, sophomore year, you were no drinking, none of this. You were just on point. And I like maybe during that point, if you're probably more extreme than I was, but like if you miss a day, something just feels off, right? It's like, am I lazy right now? But so I have a hard time being like, yeah, I'm strong. I go to the gym every day because I'm so disciplined versus like, well, I want to feel good.
Yeah, no, yeah, lot of things you touched on there that I don't want to like work backwards and like yeah, in my peak and care about track. Christmas break was always a time that bothered the hell out of me
Mm.
because I kind of had this mantra that if you miss more than 3 days, you're losing all those gains that you spent
I know.
months getting right. And when it's snowing out on the east side, and you're like, okay,
Oh,
school's out. There's not an indoor facility for me to run around at, and I got to get a run in. So I guess I got to bundle up and go running this shit. And I've
oh,
done that many times before, but it's so easy when you are on, the holiday break and you've, maybe you've just been playing video games. You're happy that you have the school's out for the fall. That was hard, finals and all that stuff.
hmm.
And you're like, you care about being in shape, but you're also like, you know. And so, yeah, I would start to have this anxiety of like, I just let 3 days go by. I'm at risk of losing this stuff. So let's just go. And even then, a bundled up run in the snow is like, it's like cardio. It's not exactly what I was doing when we were run intervals at sprints. It's not 200-meter repeats. It's not.
It's like cardio, not training,
Right.
right? Is that kind of a way to put it? Okay,
Exactly.
yeah.
And so yes, I totally get that anxiety with a little bit of time passing. But I will say back to your thought about is it, am I pushing myself to do something different, uncomfortable, or is this just something I need? I think that's a delicate, healthy balance. In a sense, before it became a habit for you, you were pushing yourself to do something that was a little outside your comfort zone. Now it's became your
True.
mantra and your medicine. But sometimes people will get sort of complacent going through the motions and that sort of stuff.
Hmm.
And it sounds like you periodically re-engage yourself and you're like, well, we got to up the ante on these biceps now. I mean, this that weight was is easy to me now. It's not what I want to do anymore. I'm going on the new echelon. So as long
Right.
as you
True.
check in, you might be pushing yourself to a new uncomfortable.
That makes sense. And yeah, I guess that is true because you do see people, you probably see it too if you ever go to a gym. The people are just there, put it down. It's like, that looked like they weren't doing anything. The complacent, I went to the gym today. It's like, no, 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 no. I
Yeah.
don't know about that. I mean, you did, but yeah. That's a good point. I didn't even think about like at a certain point it was hard to even just go.
Hmm.
And it's been like over a decade now that I'm old. Yeah, like 13, 14, 15, since I was like 16.
Hmm.
So almost 16 years now of like doing it. So I can't remember the time where it was like, I don't want to go.
Sure.
Or like my buddy pulling me into the gym back when I went to Skagit Valley College for like, but yeah,
That
that's a
time
good
had to
point. Makes
exist.
me feel better. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad. No, I'm glad it makes you feel better. But it's just funny. That's a long time, and to say that you can't even really remember it. But you remember a friend pulling you in. You said.
Oh yeah, I had this guy Anthony was his name. He was to my shoulder like height. He's like probably no, he's like 5'7", probably 5'7" ish,
Hmm.
but he was Samoan.
Okay.
So he always like, we're going to the gym. I'm like, I can't do anything. I still remember being like 16, running start, getting 10-pound weights on the bench and being like, ugh! And then put like 25s on each side and barely being able to like move those. Like now it's like, oh god, ugh, I can't even picture. I'm like, oh, don't look at me. I used to not be able to do it,
I was never that weak.
but it's
Delete that
funny.
video.
I prompted you. I have security footage from the Skagit Valley from when you did it. Uh, no, but yeah, no. I had a buddy who was very big, like did as much as I do now,